There is a line in the song Amazing Grace that always catches my attention, and this line says, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I once was lost, but now I'm found. And this is so powerful for me because for the longest time in my life, I felt lost. I felt unmoored. I felt I didn't have a ballast, a foundation to hold on to. And a significant part of that had to do with the reality that I didn't have a healthy sense of self-esteem. In fact, I didn't really have any sense of self-esteem for myself. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I'm in a different space today, and having this feeling of being found, this feeling that I know where I am and why I'm here and what my purpose is, this sense of being found, I correlate to having a healthy, robust sense of what my self-esteem looks like. I've got such a healthy framework for the way I perceive myself. And today I want to share with you why I believe the only way that we can experience such a robust self-esteem, such a healthy sense of self-esteem is when we commit ourselves to living with integrity. Only integrity boosted self-esteem can enable one to feel truly empowered in living authentically as they truly feel their values are. So only self-esteem boosted by integrity leads to this sense of empowered authenticity that one can experience unleashed. But for those who choose not to live with integrity, the self-esteem that they experience is one that is extremely impotent and ineffective. It doesn't enable them to grow into a fuller sense of who they are. Now, let's talk a little bit about self-esteem. Self-esteem is simply one's sense of self-worth and value, the way they see themselves, the way they feel about themselves. This lends to one's idea of their self-esteem. For some, they love what they see. And for others, they really struggle because there's so many elements internally that they find in conflict with what they hoped it could be, whether it's the way they appear, the way they behave. It's at the very heart of it, one's sense of self-worth or one's sense of self-value. It's often determined by their perception of themselves and their accomplishments or lack thereof. It's usually influenced by the social circles in which they inhabit, personal experiences that they might have, or even their own behavior as well. So I think it's a real thing. So my question I'd like to have you consider while you're listening is, are you lost or are you found? As the hymn writer said, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I believe all of us once upon a time were lost. And in some progression, some of us come to this beautiful space where we find that we have been found. We have found why we exist. And again, my big premise here is I don't feel that in my experience, I found myself until I came to commit to living with integrity. And it's only through integrity that I'm arguing that one can experience this beautiful, full, rich sense of self-esteem in their lives. But before we get to that setting of what it looks like when one is found, when one has a really beautiful access to their self-esteem and experience in it, before we get to that part, let's talk a little bit about some of the consequences that ensue with a lack of self-esteem that so many in our culture struggle with. A sense of self-esteem that is hit really hard because they do not experience integrity in their lives. Here are some of the consequences of living without integrity that impacts our self-esteem. The first one is it creates a tremendous sense of shame. It creates this tremendous sense of shame because when one is not living with integrity, when one is not aligned with the values that they hold internally and they're not able to experience living it out, there is a lot of conflict in the way that their actions are are opposite to what their values and beliefs are. And so they feel like they're letting themselves down, and sometimes in the ways that they act, they also hurt others, whether intentionally or unintentionally, which usually leads to negative thoughts. It further leads to like critical assessments of oneself. This further erodes one's sense of self esteem. Another consequence of how self-esteem is hit really hard because one isn't perhaps living with integrity is there's a great dissonance between their values and the way that they behave from those values. A great sense of dissonance that doesn't quite match up. They feel that they aren't living authentically. They feel like very inconsistent in the way that they engage in the world. This often leads to confusion on their part as they question, well, who are they and why do they keep acting this way? I remember when I finally pressed that integrity reset button in my life, and when I talked to my wife then and disclosed to her how I'd been unfaithful, and one of the things I said is, I honestly don't know why I am this way. I want to have a different set of values, but I keep on behaving this way, and I'm so confused as to why I keep hurting you this way, and I don't know why my values don't line up with what my actions are. And so I feel this very deeply. Not only does it lead to confusion and questioning of one's identity, but it also lends to a sense where we may not feel like we're truly loved or accepted for who we truly are because we don't know who we are. This dissonance creates such confusion that we're like, I don't even know where my true north is. I don't know why I am the way I am, and I don't know why I line up the way I do. And so there's just that sense of confusion of who we are. And so when others interact with us by way of saying, hey, you mean something to me, we struggle with, what do you mean by that? Because I don't like me. I don't like what I see in me. And there you see the expression of self-esteem that is just taking a real solid hit because one is not living with integrity. Another consequence of living without integrity that hits our self-esteem in a really harsh way is that we don't trust ourselves. We can't trust ourselves. We know why we can't trust ourselves because we've seen the evidence of how our actions play out and how it really is in the deficit category. So we can't trust ourselves because we doubt our ability to even be able to make good decisions in the first place. We feel quite unreliable based on past experiences. And this leads to a lack of self-confidence, lack of trusting ourselves. And so we live in this zone where we just can't even take ourselves seriously. And you start seeing again why self-esteem without integrity it's like a leaf in the wind. It's just tossed to and fro. A final consideration on how living without integrity impacts adversely our self-esteem is that it also affects our relationships that we have, those especially that are closest and near and dear to us. It's difficult for us to form deep and meaningful connections with those that we really care for because we feel unworthy of their love, and we break their trust. Their respect for us diminishes as we are inconsistent with them and because of the ways that we hurt them. This is really painful because eventually it leads to an increasing sense and feeling of isolation and loneliness and self-hatred, criticism, like we're really critical with ourselves. We cut ourselves off. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy as we walk into that zone that makes it difficult. So there are some heavy costs for those of us, for many of us, who are trying to figure out how to grow in our self-esteem without committing ourselves first to living with a life of integrity. And that's a really necessary prerequisite. It's a really necessary prerequisite that we commit to living with integrity and honesty with ourselves first and foremost, for self-esteem to start coming back into our lives. For us to move from that zone of being lost, as the hymn writer was saying, he once was lost, but now is found. We can't be found until we find ourselves first. We need to find ourselves through the pathway of integrity, and it's only in that space that self-esteem becomes one of those beautiful flowers that grows out of our commitment to and investment in integrity. And let's, however, consider some amazing benefits to living with integrity that create a tremendous sense of ballast and foundation for an experience in self-esteem that's beautiful, like where you love yourself, like you really love what you see when you see yourself. I hope you're hearing this and wanting to experience that. I hope you're at a place where you're desperate for it. If you're enjoying what you're listening to so far and benefiting from it, I would love for you to subscribe and follow and join this community that I am cultivating, where we relish and savor integrity, living a life of integrity. But let's commence with some of the benefits of living with integrity that ensues to beautiful expressions of self-esteem that enables us to feel empowered with authentically living our lives unleashed, if you will. The first one is it creates this tremendous sense of self-empowerment when we're able to pursue and commit to living a life of integrity and following how it helps us have a growth arc. The choices that we make, we start practicing making choices that align with the values that we espouse. In essence, we try to align the internal with our external, and we try to see those line up as we learn to be honest and consistent with ourselves. This gives us a tremendous sense of control over the decisions that we are making in life, because we feel like we are doing this intentionally, and this enhances our self-worth, if you will. We're like, okay, here's me starting this trajectory of doing the right thing, trying to align. And for me, what this looked like was very simply speaking honestly. I learned for a lifetime how to try and say things, even if it wasn't true, to try and please those around me. And when I finally was doing the reset, the integrity reset button in my life, there was moments when I had to pause and say, wait, I need to like realign my actions to align with my values internally. And this for me, at this moment, is simply speaking the truth and saying, I can't say what you want me to say because it's not true. I need to tell you what my truth is, and I think this, I believe this, I want this. And that was my process of learning how to realign so that I could practice my actions aligning with my value set. And that was really critical and important for me. Second benefit is that we feel more likely to take risks and try new things and to pursue greater goals when we are acting in alignment with our values. In the absence of living with integrity, we are very fearful and very cautious and tepid and like we walk trepidatiously, trying to wonder, is this what I should be doing? Whereas when we align with our internal values and live our values out consistently, there's a sense of confidence that ensues that enables us to say, hey, I'm far more comfortable with taking risks now because I want to try something new. I want to experience something new. I want to try new things. I want to pursue my goals now. I don't want to be held back. I want to finally express myself for who I am. And that's a beautiful space to be. But that only comes when you commit to walking this path of integrity. Another significant benefit is that it creates this sense of fulfillment and purpose, especially when you are trying to live in a way that matches what you truly believe. All of a sudden you've got a new purpose in life. Your new purpose is, how do I get to know me and what really matters to me, and how do I pursue that and follow through on that regardless of the consequences and circumstances around me. That's a beautiful thing. And then it also enhances our ability to see ourselves with kindness and care. This is where, like, when we look at ourselves, we're saying, I like what I see because when I consider myself now, I see how I'm getting to know me for who I truly am and accept what I see right here as my starting point in my progression towards being a better version of myself. But right now, in this moment, I'm happy with what I see as I continue to grow and pursue what that growth looks like. We start to trust our commitment to why we're doing things, our intentions. We see our values and our actions aligning in beautiful ways that continues to lend to the sense of, hey, I like what I see because I'm seeing an alignment. I'm seeing a consistency that enables me to really walk into this. And that's a beautiful thing. And then finally, we also get to feel this sense of beauty as we practice seeing ourselves with kindness, as we start seeing ourselves with this sense of grace and saying, I'm not a finished product yet. I'm still in progress. But while I'm in progress, I'm happy with where I'm at as I progress forward. I'm being kind and gracious to myself, saying, hey, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is not perfection. This is progression over time. These are wonderful things that come when we commit to this path of integrity that's so into our self-esteem as we learn how to look at ourselves with a new lens, with a new set of eyes that says, we're good. We're good as we are. And we're growing. And we're committed to that growth. And we're liking what we see more and more. That is an amazing thing. And then, of course, it also increases our sense of self-responsibility as we grow in courage and confidence to express and take ownership for our actions. We're far more able to say, oops, I goofed up. I'm owning that right there because I want to align with my actions. I want to align my actions with what my beliefs are. And for me, that entails taking responsibility when I go off course, being responsible so that I can realign again. And that starts, of course, with that honesty piece with ourselves first and foremost. Friends, it is just remarkable when I think about the way that our self-esteem intersects with a life of integrity and how self-esteem is shattered when we're attempting to live without a commitment to integrity. It is like really evident as I reflect on my past few years of pursuing this pathway of integrity, that it's only as I've committed to the demands of walking with integrity, only when I've committed this way to these demands, that I've seen in a real tangible way how it has enhanced and in essence made to blossom my sense of self-esteem. I was sitting the last couple of days in two different occasions with some dear friends and just talking about some of the challenges that we've gone through together and some of the ways that we've grown personally. And one of those things that I was reflecting on with tremendous gratitude is that I'm at a point in my life where I could lose all of my social connections. Let's say they all of a sudden just out of the blue said, Binyam, we don't think this friendship is going to work anymore. We don't want to spend time with you anymore in life. We don't want to invest in time together. I could hear that with acceptance and not feel rejection on my part. My self-esteem wouldn't be shattered at all. And that's because my first point of reference now is not external. It's not my friends external to me. It's not the valuation of other people of me. My valuation, my self-esteem comes from me first and foremost. And this is brilliant because this is what I mean when it enables me to experience an empowered sense of authenticity that is unleashed, whereby I can say, yeah, like I can lose so many things in life and still be really good at my core, because committing to walking and living with integrity enables me to look at myself in the mirror now and say, I like what I see. I'm good with what I see. I appreciate the consistency and the alignment and the hard work it's taken to get to where I'm presently at. And should I lose everything else? It's okay, because everything else is just the cherry on top. I am so well sustained in the self-esteem that has grown internally because the fertile soil of integrity has facilitated this beautiful nourishing of this expression where my self-esteem, my self-love it isn't easily affected now. I remember spending like a couple of years on social media a year back with creating content in my Uber travels, and there was a lot of hates and pushback from some people who didn't like what I was doing, and I was unaffected through it all. They tried what they could to throw barbs and to try and demoralize me and to discourage me, and it was actually kind of funny. It was funny because I was looking at their attempts and I was seeing how it just kept missing the mark. They were trying to aim for my heart, they were trying to aim for my mind, they were trying to aim for my sense of self-esteem to try and demoralize me, and they couldn't. I was unaffected by their attempts, and that's only because this sense of self-esteem that I thrive on has been cultivated in the arena of integrity. And that's why I say it's only integrity boosted self-esteem that enables one to truly feel empowered and to live authentically in a way that they don't feel leashed at all. It is a beautiful promise. It is an amazing experience to be in this space. And that's why I share these experiences with you, because I so would love for you to have that same experience. It makes me sad when I see so many who are living in the zone where their self-esteem is barely visible, where they struggle with their self-image, where they struggle with their own lack of alignment in living the way they truly want. It so affects me in a way where I say, I feel for you, but I can't change you. You have to change yourself. And the best I can do is offer hope. Offer hope by speaking about these themes and these conversations that hopefully give you at least some access points to say, I'd like a little bit of what you're describing. I want a little bit of that experience, Benjamin. I want to be able to experience what it is that you're describing, because if it's true, it sounds delightful. And I'm telling you, it's delightful. I've been in this zone for a long time. This past year, and my life has, there's so many significant challenges that have come up, like daunting, like seemingly debilitating challenges that I've been able to process and work through in a very short span of time because of my commitment to integrity. And these are the kind of challenges that would pulverize my sense of self-esteem if it was not first of all couched in my commitment to integrity. And it's only because I've been committing to living with integrity that I've been able to not only survive this really rough season, which I will share with you at some point here in a couple of months, but it has also enabled me to thrive in such a way where my closest of friends know so much of what's going on in my personal challenges. Like these are daunting, and when I share them with you in a couple of months, you'll be shocked. Some of you will be I can't quite talk about them yet, but nonetheless, as I give you that foretaste, let me just say it's stuff that, yeah, it's really challenging, and I have been unassailed. I've been able to feel empowered to live authentically and in a way that's unleashed, because my self-esteem is boosted in a robust way by the integrity that is an amazing foundation for it. I would love that for you. And so my friends have asked me, on many occasions this past little while, how is it, Binyam, that you are able to just thrive in this season? And not only thrive, but even have so much access that I can take on the challenges that others have that they share with me, saying, Binyam, could you help me with this? Could you help me sort this out? And I say, yes, I can, because I've got access available to share with you of that energy that is necessary. It's tangible. I'm talking about, friends, things that actually are transformative. And that's what I'm trying to convey, is there is a way that you can experience beautiful transformation, but it comes in a specific progression. And getting this sequence incorrectly is like putting the cart before the horse. You can't work on your self-esteem until you commit to living with integrity and getting honest with yourself first and foremost. That's where it begins, at the heart of it. In the absence of putting that sequence in place you continue to spin your wheels. And I'm not certain that I have much confidence of your progression. What I'm describing, I'm trying to give you the best way that I know how to get to where I am hoping to invite you towards. And this is the way that I believe is the way to experience an integrity boosted self-esteem that enables one to feel empowered, to live authentically, and to live in a way that they feel unleashed. I really would love to see that for you. Friends, if you haven't already subscribed, I would love to encourage you. Take this moment now. Subscribe if you've made it this far in the video and you're enjoying this content. You find it's really helpful. Drop me a line in the comments. I would love to connect. I would love to hear from you, even on my personal email that I've set for this. It's called personal integrity resets at gmail.com. Personal integrity reset at gmail.com. And yeah, if you are enjoying this, consider checking these other two videos that I'm going to put over in these little corners over here of the screen. Again, these are maybe a good starting point for understanding this whole piece on what integrity means for me. And what I do here is I contrast good integrity from bad integrity, and maybe that's a good starting point. It's just for accessibility, for you to say, how do I begin to even think about this? This is a theme that I want to commit to because it's so important for me in my life. And I think it's important for so many of us. And I want to cultivate a community of people who are committed to this, who are inspired not only to live with integrity, but to go and spread this passion for what living with integrity could look like in the transformative realm of how this world could be better. Join me if you would, wouldn't you? Until our next video, I want to say thank you again for spending time here with me. I will see you in the next round. I appreciate you guys. Sao bona. I see you.